During the last 24 hours, 15 flights have landed, around 2,900 Indians on board. So if you add that to the previous numbers, we have approximately 13,300 people who have returned to India on the flights by 63 flights under Operation Ganga. That was as of around midday today. Some more flights, of course, will take off now. So during the next 24 hours, 13 flights have been scheduled. Of these, one of them will be the IAF C-17 that's going to Budapest. If you look at the departure points, 7 flights of these 13 will be to Budapest. And we have 2 each to Košice in Slovak Republic, Rzeszów in Poland, and Bucharest in Romania. Okay, so I'll just repeat the 24 hours. We're looking at about 13 flights, one by IAF C-17, and in terms of the total, 7 from Budapest, 2 from Košice, 2 from Rzeszów, and 2 from Bucharest. We are also, as I've been saying, a large number of Indians, actually almost all of them, except for the 2 places that we discussed yesterday, Sumy and Kharkiv area, have now left Ukraine. There are some in transit somewhere. So I think we will be looking at how to get, we'll do a fresh look at who all are still in Ukraine. I think our embassy will be trying to contact those who happen to be still in Ukraine. And I think the embassy will try to contact them. I mean, apart from those who have already registered, etc., because I think a lot of movements happen. But as I said, I don't think there are too many left, apart from the Sumy and that area. That we are separately looking at. Moving on to Kharkiv, there are some positive development in terms of what we understand is that almost all Indians have now left Kharkiv City. That's certainly a very positive development. As you know, this was an area of considerable concern for last few days. So that's something positive movement. In nearby Pesochin is one of those safe areas that we had moved out people about now a couple of days ago. As of a few hours ago, there were less than 300 students there. I think 298 was the number our embassy put out, who are to be evacuated out westwards. We hope to complete that task by today. Of this, as you've just seen also on the social media, I think our embassy organized that 3 buses have already got filled up. They've reached and are leaving. So the buses organized by embassy have been sent to Pesochin. And even as we speak, we hope that the next couple of buses will reach, load up. And we think in those about 5 buses, we should be able to get out all of them who are left. So that would resolve the Pesochin set of people who are stranded there. So with that, Pesochin and Kharkiv, hopefully in the next few hours, we should be able to clear out almost everyone. As far as we know, as I said, Kharkiv also, there's nobody. Yesterday, we were also able to send food and water and other essentials to the people in Pesochin. So that actually has been a more comfortable development. The main focus is now on Sumy. This is a little in the northeast on the border with Russia. Now here, of course, this has been in the news a lot, and we are exploring multiple options for evacuating our students out of there. But let me reiterate, the main challenge remains the ongoing shelling there, ongoing violence there, and the lack of transportation, primarily. But even more the transportation, I think it's a problem of having a secure and safe way to get them out while they're not under threat. We are in touch with all concerned regarding possible movement. The best option for us would be a ceasefire, of course, that allows to get our students out. And in this connection, we have been strongly pressing both the Russian and the Ukrainian sides to allow this kind of a local ceasefire, perhaps just to get a corridor for our students. It's not yet happened, but we are continuing to push for that. Meanwhile, I would urge all our students who are there in Sumy, we know what you're going through. It's a tough situation. You are managing it with fortitude. Please stay safe. Avoid unnecessary risks. Safety and security is paramount. We feel your pain, the difficulties you're going through. Just bear with us as you see. Please follow the advisories our embassy is issuing. The complete attention of our evacuation efforts are now on getting you out safely. Regarding the western borders, I think movement is reasonably smooth. Those who are in transit are reaching there and crossing over. Our embassy teams are facilitating both on both sides of the border. I think that's probably the kind of update I had. As I mentioned yesterday, over 21,000 have moved out, a few hundred more now over the day. So since our first advisory, as I said, more than 21,000 have moved out. Humanitarian assistance also has 6 tranches went out, and about 16 odd tons. I think the civil aviation have put out a press release. Some 16.5 tons of material has gone. Control room continues to get a lot of queries, I think, but less now because the number of students are less. But I think 12,240 calls and just over 9,000 emails is what I have. Let me just stop here, since as I said, we'll try to make it a short press today. Siddhant, on the issue of our expectation, I don't know. I would not like to guess or speculate. I would just like to say we are urging, and we are strongly urging both sides to have a ceasefire. Whether it will happen, when it will happen, is something that we will see as it happens. I can't say when, but I hope soon. I hope it happens, because that is something that'll be useful and necessary for us to be able to actually pull out our students. Otherwise, we're putting them at risk. That's a real problem. But that's all I can say in terms of how we're looking at it. But we will continue to press on this. कविता जी, आपने पूछा सुमी का सिचुएशन कैसा है और रशियन बॉर्डर में किस तरह का आप सिचुएशन पूछ रहे थे. देखिए, वहाँ पे दिक्कतें तो आ रही हैं, पर जब तक कि ये मतलब वहाँ पे कोई युद्ध विराम या वगैरह ना हो, मुश्किल होता है. अभी तो वो अंदर हैं, कैंपस के अंदर हैं, शेल्टर्स में ज़रूर एयर रेड वगैरह होती हैं तो सेफ़ हैं. पर आप रशियन बॉर्डर की तरफ जाएं, या हमारे पास हमेशा, जैसे अभी संजय को मैं यही कहने वाला हूँ, हमारे पास हमेशा कंटिजेंसीज होती हैं, डिफरेंट प्लान्स होती हैं. जैसे मैंने पहले कहा था, हमारी टीम्स है रशियन साइड पे भी हैं, हमारी टीम्स अब ईस्ट में भी जा रही हैं. मैं 2-3 दिन से कह रहा हूँ, हमारी टीम्स उस तरफ जाने की कोशिश कर रही हैं. अभी तो जैसे पिसोचिन से भी निकाल रहे हैं, तो हमारी अभी एबिलिटी हो गई है कुछ उस एरिया में भी कुछ निकालने की. पर दिक्कत उसमें नहीं है. हमें जो दिक्कत आ रही है वो है उस जहाँ से है वहाँ से थोड़ी दूर वहाँ शेलिंग हो रही है, और ऐसा ना हो कि वो निकाल ले और फिर वो कोई खतरे में आ जाए. तो ये हमारी मेन प्रॉब्लम है. I'll answer Srinjoy's question also on this. Yeah, there are clearly 2 or more options in terms of it can go east, it can go west. We are not being choosing one over the other. It all depends on what is the transportation options, what are the logistic arrangements that can be organized. At this point, unfortunately, we don't have many of those options, because our primary requirement of having a safe route where our children, our students are not at risk when they leave their campuses and move. The good thing in Sumy is, of course, that they are concentrated. They are together in 1 or 2 locations, so it should be a little easier to pick them up rather than scattered across the city. But still, there's a large number. Somebody asked me how many. About 700 odd is what our head count is, something around 700. So we could look at all options. I said, our primary focus is to get them out safely. If East makes it easier, okay. Although the East is probably, in terms of distance, is the closest, but in terms of having to cross 2 front lines, because you'll have to cross the Ukrainian side and then the Russian side. And the West will probably be, if the ceasefire, probably faster, because the ceasefire, you will probably face only one front line. But again, I'm no expert on this. We have teams on the ground. They will decide what is the best way once there is some degree of safety and security that is provided on the ground. Yeshi, you asked about maximum concentration, not these. Of course, the maximum concentration currently is in the town of Sumy, no doubts about it. But outside, you're talking about on the borders. To be honest, I don't think there's much of a concentration. So people come there a couple of hours, a few hours, and they're crossing through. So I don't think, as far as I am aware, there is any major group waiting to cross over on any of the borders. Sometimes because of the rush, there continues to be a rush of other nationalities and Ukrainians trying to get out. But on the whole, we haven't heard anything particular. In fact, as I said, the vast majority of people have crossed over, and that's why the people crossing the border in the last 24 hours has not been much, very many. It's not too high, because many of them have crossed over now. So that has become much smoother, those who are reaching. Obviously, once the Pesochin group comes out, that will add to some pressure at a certain point. Then, of course, the Sumy group will come out, and that will also. But that will be then, when they haven't reached that point yet. They are currently probably just leave. The earliest group is probably going to Lviv today.
So they are around just 1,000?
No, we think, look, we don't know exactly. This is all an estimate. If you add up these 2 numbers, obviously more than 1,000, because There were 700-800 in Sumy, Pesochin earlier. But again, they moved to the west now. And we expect some more in transit or somewhere else. That's why I started by saying our embassy is now also going to look at a fresh look at who all are left behind, perhaps who are stuck somewhere else. Because right now we're looking at large concentrations. And once this process is over, perhaps we'll look at that. Then we'll have exact fix on how many more are. But our assessment is that number is not very high. Because just look at how many have actually crossed. And yeah, didn't I say that number? I'll just tell you. I'll come back to that number. Yeah, I'll come back to that. Saurav Trivedi, you asked about. Aapne?
Sir, the video going viral.
Yes. Oh, look, that video is in the morning. Is that the one about from Sumy?
Yes,
Yeah. Look, I understand their pain. I started with that. I can imagine the feeling of being left out. Everybody else is leaving. They are stuck. There are difficulties in living conditions. But I'm happy they are safe. I'm happy they are in a secure place. The university is looking after them. Yes, there are problems. The city is, I think, water system got hit. So water is a problem. Electricity got damaged, I think, is back on. I assure you, we're monitoring it very closely. We're talking to the students directly, both from the embassy and our control room here. Subsequently, after we spoke and other people spoke to the students, they've gone back to the shelters. They are inside. So yes, I think that video showed their worry and concern. But I think they are not just kids. They are grown-ups. They know the risks that they carry of just coming out. And I think I would salute them and I would commend their thing. They have gone back inside and they are back in the. And as I said, we are trying to see if we can actually have a more secure way of getting them out. Yes, videos like that do get viral. In fact, the biggest problem we have is a lot of viral videos. Some of them unverified. This one's probably a verified one. Sorry, you were asking whether I could repeat the numbers. Look, broadly again, let's go back to the overall numbers. We have got over 21,000 or 20 something, around that 21,000 mark, 20,000, over 20,000, let's say, maybe less than, who have actually left Ukraine. Okay, of this, 4,000 had come obviously much earlier, before the hostilities broke out. And since the hostilities have broken out, we have got 13,300 people back on 63 flights under Operation Gangas. Okay, so you could say if you remove from about 16,000, so another about 2,500 plus people are on outside Ukraine but waiting for flights. Today there'll be 13 flights. I would assume something like 2,500, a little less, will come up. So that will leave another 1,500 plus, which will be tomorrow's flights. They'll come out. So I think by tomorrow's flights, all these people will come out, and then we will only be looking at largely the Sumy, Kharkiv, Pesochin group, and maybe some others. So I think that way, I think we are proceeding well, and I think that's a good program. As far as we are aware, almost all have left. Look, somebody then subsequently pops up. It'll not be unfair. But I think as far as we know, most of them have managed to get out. Sumy also, we are hoping that as soon as we can get a break. देखिए, हमने स्टूडेंट्स को आश्वासन देने की बात नहीं है. हम उनके समझते हैं कि उनकी दिक्कतें क्या हैं और उनका मन की हालत उनकी कैसी है कि निकलना चाहते हैं, वो घबराए हुए हैं. 600 किलोमीटर की बात मैंने सुनी नहीं, क्योंकि रशियन बॉर्डर 60 किलोमीटर है, हो सकता है उसकी बात कर रहे हो. और 600 किलोमीटर चलने की तो कोई मतलब हो नहीं सकता. वो अगर 25 किलोमीटर भी निकल आ पाए वहाँ से, तो वहाँ तो नॉर्मल बसों से आ जाएंगे. तो बात वो नहीं है. दिक्कत है पहले 5 किलोमीटर में सेफ्टी है या नहीं. उस एरिया में बॉम्बिंग चल रही है, डर उसी एरिया का है, ऐसा नहीं उसके दूर क्या हो रहा है. और 60 किलोमीटर भी पैदल चलना होता नहीं है. कर्फ्यू लगा रहता है, दिन के समय चलना पड़ता है. देखिए, जो बात मैं समझ सकता हूँ, स्टूडेंट्स हैं, फंसे हुए हैं, पर अगर वो ऑप्शन होता तो करा देते. हमने कहा था ना खारकीव में कि आप पैदल चल के पहुंच जाइए. पेसोचिन 1200 किलोमीटर आ गए, 700-800 लोग निकल गए और अब वो सेफ हैं. तो ये ऑप्शन अगर होता तो कर देते. उसमें हो नहीं पा रहा है. तो हमने आश्वासन से ज़्यादा उनको समझाया कि हम चिंतित हैं, हम देख रहे हैं आपके क्या ऑप्शंस हैं, आप धैर्य रखें. और हम पूरी भारत सरकार, विदेश मंत्रालय, हमारे एम्बेसी, सब इस पे लगे हुए हैं. तो इतना ही कहना चाहूँगा. मेनली यू आस्क्ड अबाउट अदर कंट्रीज. हाँ जी, देखिए, हाँ सॉरी मैं भूल गया था. ये आप कह रहे थे दोनों देश में क्यों सीज फायर नहीं हो पा रहा है. मतलब प्रेसिडेंट, आप तो इस तरह से कह रहे हैं ना कि मोदी जी ने बात कर. हाँ देखिए, भरोसा तो मैं समझ रहा हूं, बट वो तो कह रहे हैं कि उनके तरफ बसें उनकी तरफ हैं, उनके देश में घुसने के बाद. पर सीज फायर तो एक तरफ नहीं होता ना. आप जैसे देख रहे हैं, जो आज सीज फायर हुई सुबह दो शहरों में, उसमें भी सुन रहे हैं कि शेलिंग चल रहा है अभी जैसे. तो देखिए, सीज फायर बहुत आसान चीज़ नहीं है. अब वो दोनों देशों के बीच में उनको करना पड़ेगा. हमारे से सीज फायर की तो दिक्कत नहीं है ना, पर हम तो दोनों देशों से आग्रह कर सकते हैं कि जल्दी से जल्दी आप कुछ कोई पूरा सीज फायर नहीं हो तो लोकल सीज फायर करें. तो अब इसके आगे मैं क्या कह सकता हूँ, क्यों नहीं हो पा रहा है वही बता पाएंगे आपको.
सवाल ये है कि अगर रशियन डोमिनेट कर रहे हैं तो
नहीं ऑब्वियसली अभी नहीं कर, देखिए मैं ये कह नहीं पाऊंगा. अब युद्ध में कौन डोमिनेट कर रहा, मैं एक तरफ कहूंगा तो दूसरे पक्ष नहीं, अगर एक तरफ करते तब तो हो जाता ना बात. अब देखिए मैं क्वेश्चन नहीं करना चाहता हूँ कोई एक तरफ कह रहा है कि हाँ मैं डोमिनेट करता हूँ, दूसरा हमेशा क्लेम होता है. ये युद्ध का समय है, हम इसीलिए दोनों तरफ से बात कर रहे हैं. ठीक. Meghna, going to your question about which other nationalities I mentioned, there was a Bangladeshi person who came in. I understand one Nepali citizen is going to come on this flight. We have had some more requests. As and when they happen, let me not prejudge, because they are also looking at other options. It's not just this. If they can find commercial routes also. But as I said, we are willing, we always said we will be positively looking at this. Prime Minister committed to this, saying that he will try to help developing countries, our fellow citizens. So yes, if the requests have been coming, and we've been trying. There have not been too many, because they have to be the right place at the right time, and with enough flight is coming. But I understand there is one Nepali citizens probably coming today. Bangladesh happened. There's some more group which have requested. Let them cross the border. Let them come to our point. Then let's see. But yes, it's something that we would be positively looking at, all this request. Siddhant, your question was back to what exactly are the options you're looking at. Look, you can't walk. So it has to be some kind of transport. I understand the train line is not working, Sumy. But again, I'm told that it is disrupted due to the fighting or bombing or whatever. So it's probably by road, it'll probably have to be buses or trucks or that kind of thing. And it have to go somewhere close enough for the students to board that, either right at their university or somewhere close they can go safely. But I'm completely in the domain of speculation here, because who knows what will happen. If there is a corridor, we will find a way to get them out. If there is a pause in fighting, I assure you we will be able to pull them out. I mean, that's which way we take. Let's not close our options. All options are open. Depending on which is the safest route, we will do it. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us. Please continue to stay tuned to our social media and other websites and other handles, not just of the ministry, but also of our embassies. Again, I'll end with our best wishes to the students who are stuck in Sumy, particularly, and ask them to just be patient and continue to show the same fortitude that you have shown. We are trying our best. Thank you. Namaskar.